Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Emmy Award winner Sean Hayes is back on Broadway in David Javerbaum's hilarious comedy, An Act of God, directed by Joe Mantello. And we're here on opening night, where I caught up with the company just minutes after their opening night curtain rang down. First of all, welcome back to Broadway. How does it feel?
Oh my gosh, it feels so fun. It's exhilarating. You know, you forget, no, you don't forget, but you know, you're reminded about how much you love performing after all the rehearsal is done and you have an audience, you know. You're like, oh, this is why you do it. You know, it's so much fun.
You have the audience in the palm of your hand. I was here the other night. I mean, the second you walk on, I mean, it's this incredible tennis match. What is that like for you?
Oh, it's fun. You know, the audience is kind of like another character in the show, and it's really fun. They feel as much a part of the show, and they got a little something extra for the price of their ticket now that they're involved. So, you know, it's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for them.
David's writing is so sharp, so funny, so clever. What did you fall in love with the first time around when you read it?
I love just the message of the show, you know, the message that we should all believe in ourselves more than anything else. You know, the last line of the show, thou shalt believe in thyself. You know, that's great. And the whole message of the show from page one to the end revolves around that.
Working with Joe Mantello, one of the finest directors. Had you worked with Joe before?
No, I love Joe Mantello. He's like my second husband. I love him so much. It's been a dream of mine to work with him forever. And here we are, and hopefully there'll be many more to come. I really connected with him.
You know, we first fell in love with you in Promises, Promises, one of the finest Broadway musical theater performances I have ever seen.
You're so sweet.
You were so good in that. It's got to be so cool just to be back on Broadway. What's the experience like? 8 shows a week, being back at the booth. I mean, the community. What's it like for you, Sean?
Well, you know, it's great. Promises, Promises really, and any show, your first show really preps you to build the endurance to do 8 shows a week. Otherwise, you know, it was very difficult for me that show because I'd never done that kind of a job before. So, but I'm thankful for it because that makes everything else just a little easier.
I had the best time watching you guys the other night. First of all, welcome back to Broadway for both of you. It's opening night. How do you feel?
Excited, fulfilled, and joyful.
Excited, fulfilled. No, I feel fantastic. It was great. The crowd was great. The excitement. The show's great. Sean is so much fun. It was great.
Yeah. When you first read this script, what went through your mind? It is hilarious.
Right. I mean, I actually wasn't quite sure because no, I don't mean that in a bad way, but I knew it was funny. But I also didn't know it was as funny and as three-dimensional because there's a lot of humor that I think goes way below the surface on this play, which I think makes it even funnier.
But I think you need some of those because the jokes literally go boom, boom, boom,
right, that's
boom,
what I mean.
boom, and then Donald Trump.
And Donald Trump.
Who gets that line? I can't remember.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
You too. Working with Sean Hayes.
The best.
He's definitely the nicest guy in show business, and unbelievably funny and talented. It's like literally like watching like a class every day.
Right. Wonderful on stage and off stage.
I agree.
Both.
Yeah,
I mean, wonderful.
But backstage, right before he goes on stage, not good at all.
You know, audiences fall in love with the show from the second you're sitting in the house until it starts.
Right.
What's it like? I mean, you play in the audience with them. You play off the audience.
Yeah, it's it makes it so easy.
Yeah.
I think it makes it easy.
I love the fear in their eyes when I come to them with the microphone and they're like, oh no, what's he gonna do? But they love it every time. They're great.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you took your bow tonight back on Broadway, do you remember what you were thinking?
I got choked up. I did. I got choked up. I thought of my family. Anyway, enough.
I had my folks and my wife here, and I thought how blessed that I am to be able to do this job by God for the next for the whole summer.
First of all, my friend, welcome back to Broadway. How does it feel?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, to be on Broadway the first time, the second time, the 20th time, if that ever happened, like it's Broadway. It's the best. And to be in this venue and to have an actor of this quality performing your work in front of people, and to have, as a comedy writer, to hear people laughing at your jokes, and to have it be in a live venue rather than on television where you can only imagine people are laughing at home. It is the best I can ever hope to have creatively.
You know, this started as something totally different, and then you wrote this for Broadway. I mean, is it all surreal?
It's extremely surreal. I was just watching it and thinking, I don't know how to process this, and it's good. I'd rather it be surreal and feel like beyond my ability to process than to say, oh yeah, been there, done that. I don't ever want to be that. I always want to just be amazed at the fact that this is happening. It's a wonderfully surreal experience, yes.
You know, we all fell in love with this the first time with Jim Parsons. Brilliant. And now it's just as brilliant with Sean Hayes. What's it like tinkering for Sean and updating the show?
We tinkered a little bit. For one thing, we have to explain why God is choosing to be Sean Hayes, just like last year we did it for Jim Parsons. I tinkered a little bit. We tinkered a little bit for Sean when we were in LA and San Francisco before this. It wasn't that much tinkering. It really is, most of the difference is the difference in the actor and the way they're interpreting the role. For me as a writer, it's gratifying to see that two incredible but different actors can interpret the role differently. And as far as I can see, it holds up in either case. That's what's really gratifying for me.
How do you describe to people what an act of God is?
I would just say it's more or less a monologue with God and a couple of angels as helpers, and God coming down, doing the fancy word would be a theodicy, which is a justification of God's ways to men. And he's also giving 10 new commandments to replace the old 10, and that's sort of the tent post structure of the show. And hopefully, if I've done my job, there's a lot of jokes, a lot of densely packed jokes, and people will laugh. And, if they also think that's good, but if they laugh, I'll consider my job as having been accomplished.
My final question is, when he took his bow tonight, you're back on Broadway, he's on Broadway, how do you feel?
I can't put words to it. It's actually more thrilling than the last time because it's just more, I'm just more grateful for it. I just feel very, very grateful that this is happening.